Oh, Elden Ring, you finally graced us. All these years of waiting, of hollowing, are now behind us. At last, the grace will guide us to the lands between. Please don't delay the game, Miyazaki-sama. Anyways, welcome Tarnished to the lands between, war-torn by the shattering, where your goal as an exiled is to take back the Elden Ring fragments from Marika's offspring and return to your former glory that was once rightfully yours.
The Tarnished will soon return, guided by grace once lost.
Elden Ring takes place in a giant open world setting with a day and night cycle where you traverse the lands and search for fragments of the coveted Elden Ring. It will have character creation, it will have builds, it will have co-op, and even potentially PvP. It is slated for a January 22nd release on everything but the Switch, and is currently for pre-order for $599.99 USD. No collector's edition, no deluxe edition, or pre-order junk has been announced yet, which is a stark contrast to lots of games today that litter their first reveal with pre-order dildos and casual hand-holding bonuses out the wazoo. Resident Evil 8. This stuff will more than likely still be in, closer to launch, but for now, it's just, hey, buy the game. Okay, thanks, bye. See you in 2022. Now, since it has been a couple days since the launch of the latest trailer, which will be linked in the description below if you want to check it out yourself, instead of a breakdown video, which most people have covered by now, I figured I'd tackle the bigger, more loud and annoying elephant in the room, which is...
This is just Dark Souls 4. What's with the PS3 graphics, kick? Bloodborne looks better.
etc, etc. The usual internet theme of contrarianism to downplay something people are excited for. Now, as unfounded as most of the complaints are, there is some small truth to it as well. But hopefully I can explain the reasoning things are the way they are to gain a better understanding behind development decisions and to see the bigger picture these people are missing. This is not damage control, I'm not a Bandai Namco shill, which hell I'd love to be a shill if I got that cash money, you know what I'm saying? But I'm merely a lone Tarnished, strangely hyped about a Souls game once again since Bloodborne, and I think this one's gonna change the game. After this game releases, Souls games will change forever, and I honestly believe Miyazaki is trying to redefine their own genre. Now, I will explain the graphic complaints first. Coming from Monster Hunter Rise, which looks like doo-doo on a Switch compared to World, yet it is arguably the funnest and debatably best game in the series so far, even selling 7 million copies in 3 months. This one's gonna be fun. So okay, it looks like a PS3 game. Wrong. I think people forgot how ugly Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 looked back then, which are PS3 games. Dark Souls never looked as good as Killzone 2. It never looked as good as The Last of Us. These are exclusives, by the way, only made for one piece of hardware versus Souls 2 to 3. And these are mainly linear story games. Flat out, Souls games have never been lookers. But just from a graphics versus graphics comparison, Souls looked worse. Dark Souls in particular was janky as all hell in addition to many bad textures, but the thing that made it look good was its art direction, its soul. And its mini interconnected open world was groundbreaking for the genre at the time, and this was the game that started it all for From Software, more than Demon's Souls did, which also a PS3 game, my dudes. You remember how that looked? Yeah, you do. It looked like trash compared to Elden Ring. Dark Souls 2, the last PS3 Souls game, released at the later half of its life, and had the giant downgrade fiasco of losing its lighting system that was previously touted in its first trailers. It didn't look like Elden Ring, and I dare you to go back and watch the launch trailers for that game. Yikes, it was so terribly cringy with the music that didn't fit with the Souls series at all. So let's grow up and make the correct comparison. It looks like a PS4 game. Now this statement, now we're talking. It looks like a PS4 game. And well, hate to break the news to you guys, but it is a PS4 game. It is a last-gen game. Elden Ring is an open-world Souls game with many new mechanics and fusions of past game tidbits, all-in-one, decently looking package, and its base is last gen. I'm not even talking graphically, although you could argue that it's not that impressively graphically, which I can agree with to an extent, because it's a PS4 game. But it's not even a cross-gen game, it's a plain PS4 game that newer hardware can play at better resolutions, faster loading speeds, perhaps textures, and hopefully better frame rate at launch. How do I know this? Well, it's because of pre-orders and this statement right here. Free upgrade for next-gen systems. As of now, there is only PS4 and Xbox versions on official sites for pre-order. Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, even their official site, there's only two options, PS4 and Xbox One. This screams this is a last-gen game. So there you have it. That is why the graphics aren't looking as amazing as you're hoping for. The free upgrade statement was also a red flag as well. You know what also had a free next-gen upgrade? Practically every game on PS4 and Xbox One, except Bloodborne. Miyazaki, you bastard. Bloodborne remake when? Anyways, yeah, lots of games got free upgrades that allowed better FPS or better resolution, and that is exactly what they're gonna do for this game. Now we are still 7 months away, so who knows if we'll get dedicated next-gen versions, but from here on out, treat this game as if it's a last-gen game, because that's what it is. Now from here you can make comparisons to Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro, which I'll leave that up to you to compare, but again, Elden Ring is open world and those games are not, and open world games tend to not look that amazing. And that's where the whole Dark Souls 4 comparison is also wrong. This game is not Dark Souls 4. Dark Souls 4 wouldn't have been an open world game. Dark Souls 4 would have existed in the same universe as previous games. Elden Ring is a new setting, a new theme, and I can assure you a new flow to the classic combat of the prior games. I believe this is the ultimate, the pinnacle, the next evolution for Souls games. It is taking all the bits and pieces of past games and molding it into this new game, Elden Ring, that will likely change what we think of Soul games forever. In a good way, hopefully. But yeah, I think this is going to be the next Dark Souls 1 for From Software in the way that it influenced the world of gaming. The open world is already a huge change that people are not accounting for. Souls games have always given you freedom, but you were always hunkered down to a limited spot on the map. The most open world one, ironically, was Dark Souls 1 in the sense that you can go any direction you want from the very start. You can go through the castle, you can go to the sewers, could go to the woods, the crypt, or even down below in the abyss as soon as you start the game. There was no real traversing, however, it was all compact, vertical almost. Whereas Elden Ring is likely the opposite, more broad in scope, in scale, and much with the same freedom of choice as the original. You're likely going to be able to go and collect the ring fragments in any order you desire from the various kingdoms and monstrosity throughout the lands between. Or you can just spend your time in the Midlands doing whatever you want. Hence, they give you a deer, known as a Rima or Soul Beast, which seems like you can summon this thing on the fly. So coming from Monster Hunter Rise again, which introduced a dog, a Palamute, you can ride in a similar fashion, for Soul fans, prepare for a vastly faster and more free game just due to this addition. Monster Hunter guys know what I'm talking about. It may not seem big, but it is very significant. It's going to make the older games feel so slow in comparison, and it's going to make this game feel bigger in comparison. And it seems like you'll be able to attack from the beast itself, introducing a new combat alternative to the usual hack and slash of games prior, something a Dark Souls 4 will likely not have had because the games always took place in a more compact world of castles and dungeons. Then there's the addition of stealth. Borrowing from Sekiro now, you'll be able to sneak up on enemies like shown here, likely removing the need to slowly walk like an idiot behind an enemy for a backstab. That will likely be gone, and you have to sneak now to gain that backstab and such, or avoid enemies like shown here with the player hiding from the grass. Again, a new gameplay addition to the Souls formula that will expand your playing options. Similarly from Sekiro is the ability to jump now. You can jump a la Crash Bandicoot to not only perform several jumping attacks like against the arms guy here, or even launch yourself from your horsey and slam your big greatsword to hack an enemy's head off, but also jump to dodge attacks, just like Sekiro did. The only thing that remains to be seen here is if we'll have the same red signal to know when an attack is jump dodgeable. But once again, a new gameplay mechanic that's going to add to your arsenal of play. Of course, character creation, builds, and co-op are back in, something Sekiro sorely missed out, which Elden Ring gains the edge over. We're going to be able to create waifus and monstrosities again, builds with stats, various weapons, magic, pyromancy, claws, bows, hammers, even whips, all return. The variety has returned. The things we loved about Souls games that prolonged player retention, unlike Sekiro, which fills it out in a month or two, is back. This is where they also have a chance to change and expand the gameplay again, which we'll have to wait and see to find out more. We know these summon signs are now gone for a new cube system. Does this mean it acts similar to Bloodborne's bell system? Frankly, that system kind of sucked in my opinion, but if we can now summon players from anywhere in the world instead of just within the vicinity, that would be a game changer too. Like, can everyone ride the horse together so we have like 4 horsemen riding through the map? Can players gain XP or items now and genuinely play and progress the game together? The freedom of multiplayer has tons of potential that the past games lacked due to only being able to summon within the areas or only summon if the bosses were alive. We also still don't know anything about PvP, which again, due to the open world, is going to play differently unless PvP is limited to a certain area or arena. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But we already know weapon arts are back, as you can see from the trailer, but what if we could equip various weapon arts per weapon? Example, all curved swords had 2 to 3 customizable weapon arts to equip? That would be cool. What if they introduced a rune-like system or additional RPG stats to weapons themselves, like crit chance or unique effects like chance to bleed, item find plus 10, etc. We still don't know anything about the gear system, which would be another major change to differentiate from past Soul games. Of course, the open world and day and night cycle are something a DS4 wouldn't have either. Will certain enemies come out at night? Will we need light sources like torches and stuff to see at night, a la Dragon's Dogma? These are gameplay changes that change the flow of the usual system we're used to. We know bonfires are back, but what if we can create custom waypoints to respawn at instead of set locations? Example, to heal or level up, you can just start a bonfire anywhere you want it. That could serve as a checkpoint. Of course, casuals still beg for a difficulty setting system already, but if the bonfire system worked like this would be a huge aid to players struggling or dying a lot if their bonfire could take place in any safe or cleared out location, removing the dread of having to re-clear an entire area again after death. This has a lot of potential as well. So the point is, while the basic combat and routine of fight small mobs to the boss and progress story is likely still there, you got your dodge rolls, you likely can spam R2 like a shooter game still, you got 1 to 4 player co-op to gank invaders, if invasions are in the game, but there's so much more layers on top of this standard formula that it's just gonna be a different game in the end. I can almost assure you it will. And despite the visuals of the game, the theme is also different now, heading to a more Norse and Celtic vibe instead of straight medieval like past Souls games, with Valkyries, Cyclopses, bearded dwarf guys, the Erd Tree, which is an inspiration of the World Tree, and more. There's going to be so much more cool new inspirations that it's going to break away from the knights random monster designs that was Dark Souls 3. And this is likely why Miyazaki brought R.R. Martin on board, because he wanted his input about a different fantasy setting. But there are some negative concerns too, and that is bugs. Open world games tend to have lots of bugs, Fallout, so hopefully they try their best to squash as many as possible before release. Likewise, if PvP is in the game, then netcoding and hit detection are a concern as well. Already in the trailer, with the Phantom clip, the whip guy clearly misses their attack against the enemy, with the whip literally going over their head. Yet, boop, they still get hit, so that's kinda not good. And while the trailer showed off a variety of enemies and bosses, again, due to the open world, how is enemy placement and variety gonna factor? Will any cool enemies be out in the wild, or will we mainly see the usual ghoul and band of bandits till we go toward more set piece like places like the castle, which you likely fight the arms guy at? And last concern, of course, is performance. Open world, again, kind of double-edged. For PS4 and Xbox One players, it's likely gonna be 30 FPS, but for PS5 and Series X, we better get 60 FPS minimum. I doubt we'll get 4K 60 like PC probably will, but I'd settle for 1440p 60 FPS, especially if the complaints about graphics are gonna stick. Like if it's not gonna look as good as Demon's Souls Remake, for example, on PS5, I'd rather have the game run smoother than look at bad fur textures in more detail with a higher resolution. But yeah, just wanted to address those concerns. Overall, I am super hyped because it's been 5 freaking years since Dark Souls 3. People complaining about, oh, another Dark Souls. Dude, it's been 5 years. Even if the game ends up being mostly similar, I'd rather From Software and Miyazaki play it safe with small experimentation than go crazy wild and create something people don't enjoy, or doesn't have the long-lasting community behind it like Sekiro did. So call me Tarnished, cause I'm ready to take back that ring and be impaled by redheaded waifus, baby. But yeah, 7 months, plenty of in-between time to polish the game. We'll likely get a network test a couple weeks or a month before release. Bandai Namco, please give me early copy, thanks. But rest assured, I will cover the game and any major news that gets brought up in the future. Certainly builds and stuff, I'm gonna be your guy. So if you want to see more like this, tarnish that like button. Comment down below what you guys think of Elden Ring or the trailer, or what you guys want from the game when it releases. And lastly, subscribe for more Elden Ring epicness.